Hello, welcome to this tutorial. I'm Morris Dimba, and today I'm going to show you how to create cladding, purlin, and tie cleats on this truss. If you take a look here, this is where we left last time. On part 1 of truss creation Tekla structures, and today we are going just to touch it a little bit brief, because today we want to place the base plates and also the cap plates, and also the cleat ties on the truss, longitudinal for the tie beam, longitudinal tie beams for our trusses, and also the cleats for the purlin, for the purlins. Now, first of all, let's start with the base plates, and we'll go straight here. And if you're new to this, I think I've repeated this several times, but no, it's no issue, because it is a learning process, and we keep on getting learners new and new every day. And now, if you want to get the macro that will help you in creating the base plate, you just click on this button here, applications and components here. Just click and this will pop up, and inside this you just type a base plate, and this will the Tekla will prompt you with variety of macro that start with the letter base, and just continue and complete your word base plate, because this is what we want, base plate. And this is not a circular hollow section, so we don't need a circular base plate. Now just continue, just eliminate that, then go through these options that you've been provided for, and what will use is this one, stiffened base plate. Just double click on it, and fortunately enough, I've already customized my connection for this particular section here. Let me just double click on it so that you see the section itself is a universal beam 254, 102 to N25. Now, what we're going to do, I customized this. I just copied that and made my connection here. And what I did, I just fed here once the connection, the base plate satisfied my welding and the position at the base plate. Now I place that as my preset connection at the bottom end of my column. Now I'll just go here and select on it, then I'll go straight to the bottom end. Let me first of all deselect this column. Just click on empty screen to deselect any member. Now I've selected on that, then I'll go ahead and click load the settings for this particular base plate connection. Then I'll go ahead and click modify, apply and accept that. I'll go again and click on that, then click on at the bottom end here and give it some time to place the base plate for that position. I'll right click and I'll click on empty screen, then right click and come to read row just to refresh, to remove all those symbols of macro. Then I'll come back again and click on stiffened base plate and go to the end and select on the beam and click at the bottom end. The beauty by customizing your type of connection or the connection you use frequently is because it cuts down on the time you use on modeling or creating any component or creating any structure in Tekla structures. So that's avoid the juggling around on selecting the type of connection inside the application component column here. Now, once you customize the connections that you use frequently, it makes your work speedy. Now I want to place the cap plate here, because on top of this column we need a cap plate so that we can bolt our truss on top of this column, and also this column needs some stiffeners at the top here, so those ones will place under your watch. Now I'll come here and type cap plate. I'll pick cap plate here. So remember, a single click will not bring the dialog box of this particular macro. Now a double click will prompt it or will bring it up for us so that we can customize or put our customized parameters. Now I'll double click on it so that we get that dialog box for the cap plate here. Now once we have it, we have options here. We have circular, and square, a profile of plate. Now I'll pick the first one because our column takes the shape of rectangular to square, so we can use both depending on your parameters that you want to be placed on this particular part of this truss component. Now I've picked on that. Now I'll go ahead and select on the part I want to place the couplet. I want to place it on top here, so I have to turn it into a position that I'll be able to snap right at the midpoint of this column here. Now I'll click on that spot, and that's where we are. And if I double click here and come to parts here, you can see the plate is 10 millimeter thick. You can change the thickness of this plate either by changing it to 8 millimeter, and now we have the width of our plate on top here. I can confirm this by coming to edit here, because we want this couplet to match the size of this plate that is attached to our truss. Now I want to confirm the measurement first prior to adjusting or customizing my couplet. Now I'll snap on that spot and snap on that spot just to confirm the measurement of this of the top plate here, and the top plate here is 290. Now I'll go ahead and compare the length of this plate. I'll come to distance here and pick on that end and pick on this end just to check the length. The length is here reading 400. Now if you come here on the couplet, we have the width here, which is the breadth. Now we'll feed the 290 here, and the depth of that will feed 400 to match the size of the plate attached to the truss. Now I'll go ahead and click modify, and I'll click apply and give an OK right there. Now what we'll do, we'll come here and rotate this, and you see there's a small gap, means the thickness of the top plate here is bigger than this one. So we want this to match, both plates to match, so that they can come together and can be bolted together. Now instead of pulling the truss down by that measurement, down with the measurement of that gap. Now first of all, let's check the thickness of this plate first prior to making any adjustments. Now I'll check that by clicking on that spot and clicking on that spot, and you can see it is 10 millimeter thick. Now we can bring this back to 10 millimeter thick where it was before, and we'll just type here 10 millimeter and click modify, and boom, it matches that. It closes the gap, and that's the point we wanted it to reach to. Now what is remaining is just placing the bolts, and placing the bolts should not be a very big issue here. And the important thing is just getting the centers of these holes. And now to get the centers, you see when I mouse over this, you see everything gets selected, and I'm not able to actually pinpoint the center of these holes. Now I want to trick Tekla structure that I want to delete this component, so that when I want to delete it, so when I bring it back, I'll be able to get my centers of these holes. Now this will help me in placing my bolts accurately at the centers of these holes. Now I'll go to steel here and come to bolts and pick on the parts that I want to bolt together. I'll pick on that part and click on click on the bottom add part without pressing the control button. Then once I pick the parts that I want to bolt together, I'll press the space button on the keyboard. I'll press that, then snap on the first hole on the marked points where I want to place my bolts. This is the first marked point on the plate. I'll click on that, and I'll stretch all the way to that spot, and you'll see the bolts is placed on the first point. Now to check whether the two plates have been welded together, you just turn that round and you'll be able to see it has been bolted together. And we need a wash on top here, no bolt that can be fastened without a wash on top. Now just double click on that, then this dialog box of bolt properties will prompt or will come up, and pick on this, check that washer, and that will be placed on top of that. That is it. Now double click and place these bolts, and to place this bolt is dependent on this measurement. So for us to place these bolts here accurately, we have to get the measurement between this point and that point. Now I'll come to edit here and come to measure and click the distance and snap on that spot and snap on that spot, and we'll be able to get the center distance of these two holes, which is 200 here. Now we'll come here under bolt group and on x-axis, and we'll type that measurement here 200, and we'll click OK, and we'll find the bolt is positioning itself on the other end. So instead of doing a similar thing, we'll just copy these two bolts the other end. And to do that accurately, how to do that? We want to come to edit and come to points here and come to at any point. We want to get the center distance between this end and this end, because these are the 2 points that will help us get the center that cuts across this section. Now I'll snap on this point. Let me just zoom and snap accurately. I'll snap on that spot, and the 2 points will help us get the midpoint that cuts across the centers of these 2 bolts, because this is the point that will help us carry these 2 bolts to the other end. Now what do we do that? We'll pick the option of points of online. This will help us determine the points of these 2 points here. I'll snap on that spot, and that's it. I'll click apply and accept. Now I'll pick the 2 bolts by pressing the control. We don't need actually you don't need to press the control. Just select the bolts, and all of them will get selected. Select, copy, and snap on this point, and go to the other edge and place it right there, and kindly check whether what you've done is right. Actually what we've done is right and perfect in position, and this is what you wanted to do. Now instead of doing a similar thing the other end, we just mirror what we've done this end to the other end. Or you can just carry everything if it is bolting. So what I'll do this end, I'll just repeat the same thing, because it's a process of learning, and everyone wants to learn, and everyone keep learning in life. So don't mind about time so much. The key point is you get something in your brain, or you learn something out of this. Now I've selected the 2, and I'll press control and select the 2. Now I'll turn that round. I click copy, then I'll turn this round so that I pick accurate position, like on the mid section there. Then I'll scroll to the other end and place it right here, because the plates are the same. Check at the bottom end here. Are your base plates in position? Perfect. Now don't forget to save your work, because you never know about these electronics and power supply. It might disappoint you, and you will go ahead and waste your whole time doing nothing because you've lost everything. Now the longitudinal ties that I was talking about, will fix them at this end and another one at this end. So we have to place the cleats here first. Now how to do that is just with a guide of points. It's key. Now I'll use this bottom end of this strut and snap on that spot, and move on a straight line and snap on that straight line, then go all the way bottom here. Then I'll give it an offset of 150 here along the y-axis. So I'll work with the y-axis. I'll type 150 because I want it to have a width of 150. So here it's 150. So here is 150, and I want to offset it up by 150 also, or yeah, it's okay. Now I'll press Control and select the other one, and right click and come to Special Copy and pick Linear. And which direction do I intend to move? I want to move in the direction of the axis, so that is the axis that I'll feed my 150 right there, because it's moving up. Now I'll go ahead and click Copy right there. Then I'll come back to View here and come to Navigate and turn that round here. This is how it looks now. I have my 4 points in place. Now I want to close this polygon by using a plate polygon here. I'll pick a plate, then I'll snap on this and snap on that, I'll snap on this. Then my polygon is closed and the plate is created, and this is exactly what I wanted to do. Now what do we do here? We want to create the holes inside here, so that when you bring our longitudinal purlins will be tied on these cleats. Now let me first of all locate my holes, so that it will be much easier when it comes to now do the erection of these trusses and tying up all the trusses, so that it doesn't wobble or it doesn't respond to to the threats of wind pressures. Now I'll come to edit here and come. Let me just first of all turn this, because I don't want to create more points, because we'll work with these points here. Now I'll want to create a midpoint between these 2 points. I'll come to edit and I'll come to online and pick. I want to pick it accurately. I come to online, then I'll zoom close. I'll snap on that spot and snap on this spot right here. I have my midpoint of that. Now I want a midpoint between these 2 points also, because I'm just trying to get or to locate the points or to mark my plates where I'll be able to create my holes accurately on this plate. Now I'll come back to online option of creating points. I'll snap on that spot and snap on that spot. Now I'll just carry this. I'll just carry that point with reference to that position and place it right here. So I have my points in the right location. Now I'll pick this point and press Control and select that point, and I want to move it inside by 50 millimeter. I'll right click and come to special move or special copy, because I might need a correction, so I will not do away with the initial point. Now I'm going to move in the opposite direction of y-axis. Now I'll feed 50 and I'll prefix this 50 by negative sign. Now I'll go ahead and click copy, and that's the position that I'm going to place my holes. Now how do I place my holes? I just come here and type holes, type hole, double click on this macro so that I get this, and what diameter do I intend to use, and what type of bolt or what size of the bolt. I intend to use M16 for my bolts, so I need a hole of 18 dia. So I'll feed here 18, I'll feed 18, and I'll feed a negative half of this 18 here, which is 9, and feed a negative 8, a negative 9, which is half of the dia of my bolt. Now I feed also 18 right there. Now part to cut should be circular, because the hole is I want my hole to be circular. I'll go ahead and click apply, and click apply and accept that. I'll click on the part where I want to create the holes and press my middle button on the mouse and snap on the points that I've just marked on the plate, and click on that and give some time to respond, though it will prompt me with a default, but fortunately enough, we've created the hole accurately on the position. You can see that it's perfectly and directly on our point, on the point that we created. We'll go back and do the same thing. Click on this, then press the middle button on the mouse and snap on that spot, right click and click outside. Then we can now right click and redraw this so that we get rid of the points and we've not welded this plate to our truss. How do we do that? We just come here and type weld and pick on this option, and we weld this to that. Now whenever you see the green cone, means the connection is perfect and right click and redraw so that we refresh and get rid of that cone. Now we'll do the same thing here, and also another way of doing the same thing, you can mirror this. So to mirror, make sure your XYZ axis is in the right position, so that you don't mirror to a wrong position. I'll place my XYZ position right there, and I'll select the part that I want to mirror on the other end, and I want to come all the way here and snap on that spot and snap here so that I create a mirror. I'll click on that, and actually if you hear that bell, means something has happened. It might be two things, bad or good, and in this case it's good, and our part has been mirrored perfectly well in the right position. Right click and click redraw here. Perfect. Now don't forget to save your work. We are there. Now I'll come here, navigate and turn that round, and here we are. Perfect. Now we want to place the purlins here, and today we will not place a whole stretch of the purlin. I want just to show you how to place your purlins. Now I'll come to steel here, I'll come all the way there, and I want to place my purlin here. I'll come to edit, and I'll come to point here, click on that, and I'll snap on that spot, and I want to reorient my XYZ axis to follow the profile of the slope of this truss. How will I do that? I'll come to view here and come to work plane tool, click on the work plane tool and mouse over the slope of this truss here. Make sure your XYZ plane takes the slope of this truss like that, and make sure the inclination matches the truss. Now I want to offset this point by 200 millimeter. I'll select on it and come to linear copy and come to linear, and first of all check the direction where I intend to copy this point or offset this point to. I want to use the x-axis. Now I'll come to x-axis and feed 200, and I'll come here and click 200, and you can see that point has been given an offset of 200. Now I want to use this point that have been copied at a distance of 200, and I want to populate it down the truss at a distance that I think is good for my spacing of my purlins. Now I'll right click and come to special copy here and pick on the copy. Now I want to space my purlins at a distance of 1.6. I'll feed 1.6, which is 1600 millimeter. Now how many purlins do I need? I need around 6 or 5. Now what I'll do, I'll go ahead and click this in the direction of x-axis. I click on that. Perfect, and click OK. Then zoom out and check the position, how your points have been distributed. It's accurately perfect, and there's one offset. There's one that have gone off the mark, and just delete that one. And from here we want just to place some few purlins, but it's not full stretch of 6 meters. I want just to show you how to place that, so that next time when you do this for yourself, this is the perfect way of doing it. Now I'll come to points here because I want to snap accurately on the points that I intend to. I want to snap on the range in between the points I intend to place my purlins on. Now I come at any position here and I'll snap on that spot and place my point there. Now I'll come to steel here and come to beam, and I'll place my purlin right there and place my purlin right there. You see, it's almost at the bottom end here, but this way big section that can only be placed on top of this small truss, a truss with small sections. Just double click on it and come here and change this profile. We are going to use a Z purlin. Now scroll down to somewhere here, steel sections limited. This way you get a variety of sections. Now I want to use a Z section here, and I'll pick the first option, purlins and side rails, and I'll pick 140 by 1.5 millimeter thick Z purlin right there. I'll click apply and accept that. You can see the details of the section on your right hand side, and I'll go ahead and click apply and give it an OK and click apply that. Now it's not on top, or it is not the right position where we intended that to be on, and to control the position of this particular component, you use the position under beam properties. Now I want to bring it on top by clicking front. There it is right on front, and there is always a small offset from our top chord of our truss. We would want to avoid the purlins landing right directly on top of our top chord. Now first of all, let's put our cleat here. I'll come here and just type 1 because the macro that we normally use in creating the cleats is just that. Then we'll click on the top chord and click on that, then press the middle button on the mouse, and this is how it will look. And I'll turn that round, and this is how it looks. Now the bolts are way big, and this is controllable, and what I'll do is just double click on that and come to bolts here and change these bolts to M16 or M16 and give it 8.8 and give that offset of 30. Let's try that, and that's not working. Let's try 30 there. That's not working. So this is how it works, and we'll remove that. We'll delete that, and just give it an OK. And we need some washers that right there, and And that's all. I'll come to plate or cleat. You can change the cleat. You can change the cleat to plate. We need a plate right here. Just scroll up until you get a plate profile. And now we'll come to plate right here, and we'll use a plate inside there. Click apply and accept, and come to modify, apply, and we have our plate instead of a cleat. So here I will use 6mm and click that. We'll give it 100, and the thickness will be 6mm, and I'll apply that, and this is how it looks. And thanks a lot for watching this video. I'm always Dimba, and let's meet then today. Today we are a bit brief, and this is enough for today. So what we've done today, please make sure you've grabbed something, and please let's meet next time. Thank you and bye bye.